Good morning. Welcome to the Saratoga Tree Nursery. The Saratoga Tree Nursery is part of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The nursery program dates back to the early 1900s. In the 1900s, early forestry personnel such as William F. Fox realized that all the trees were being cut down due to farming that was going on in the early 1900s, and the trees weren't being replaced. So they realized that they needed to replace those trees in order to, maintain the soils, stop the soil erosion, create more habitat for wildlife, and also to replenish the forest. So back in 1902 is when the first idea of starting state nurseries began, and in 1911 the nursery here in Saratoga began production. Throughout the years, the main emphasis of the nursery program was to reforest New York's environment. Out in front of the sign here, we have two of the species that we offer, and one is the red-stemmed dogwood, and then we also have bayberry, northern bayberry. These are two of our shrub species that we offer to help. They do two things. The northern bayberry you find along the seashore, especially around Long Island. It helps hold the sand dunes and protects the coast from the high winds and rain. The red-stemmed dogwood, this is one that's good for two things. It's good for wildlife. It has a nice berry that supplies food for mammals and birds, and it also does well in wet areas. So if you have an area around a stream and that, and you're trying to protect runoff, red-stemmed dogwood is one of the better species to plant. As we were going on the tour, a question came up with asking, how do you tell if a tree is healthy? We have a sugar maple right here, and if you look up in the tree, you can see that the top is showing some signs of wear and tear, where the woodpeckers are starting to bore into it. A tree, whether it's healthy or not, is really in the eyes of the beholder, as they say, because different things can be supplied from a tree, even if it is starting to make that turn downward and not as healthy. Like I had mentioned, you can see where the holes are up top where woodpeckers have been working. For some people, you might want that on your property. You have some what we call wildlife trees, where you'll have possibly nesting birds or even nesting mammals such as raccoons that will be able to utilize that tree. And also, as I mentioned, that is a sugar maple. So even though the top doesn't look great, this is actually a great sap producer, especially when trees are stressed. They tend to try to survive. So the sap production actually would increase a little bit when that tree is stressed. So for someone who is doing maple syrup production, they would love to have a tree like that. So this way, coming the next spring, you'll be able to get make lots of syrup. Welcome to one of our cold storage units. As I mentioned, we mainly grow bare root seedlings, which is the seedlings are grown out in fields, and then a harvester comes through. We actually use a modified potato harvester, and we dig under the seedlings and we shake all the soil from the seedlings. The seedlings then come back to the nursery and are processed in our grading room, which we'll also see a little later. We do this mainly in the springtime, right before spring planting. That's the best time to plant bare root seedlings. But we do a little bit of harvesting in the fall time. The reason for that is because we do supply seedlings for all of New York State. So some areas in New York, down south especially, is ready to plant before we're even thawed out here in Saratoga Springs. So in this cooler, we have seedlings that we dug during the fall, and we found that if we freeze them, they'll last till the spring. We can thaw them out, and people can plant them, and they'll still survive. And they usually maybe 2 weeks behind freshly dug seedlings, but they usually do well, very well. I'm going to open up one of the boxes and show you how the seedlings are stored. What we're going to be opening is some bayberry, northern bayberry, which occurs down along the shoreline. It's a great wildlife plant, plus it helps hold this the sand dunes down on the island, and it actually makes a nice hedge. This is a bundle of 25 northern bayberry. As you can see, bayberry holds on to its leaves during the winter months. What's going to happen is when people plant these, the old leaves are going to fall off, and then new leaves will emerge. We get a lot of calls sometimes with people unfamiliar with the bayberry, and they think that the trees are all budded out and they're not going to do well at their new sites, on their new site. But actually, this is last year's leaves. So once you plant them out, the root systems will gather nutrients from the new site, and then new leaves will emerge. The old leaves will fall off, new leaves will come. And this is what we mean by bare root. As you can see, we went through with our tree harvester, shook all the soil from the root systems, and now what you see is what you get. We have the top, and then we have the roots down below. So now when we go to plant these, we're going to want to make sure we dig a hole deep enough so the seedling roots will lie in the ground the way they were growing in the nursery bed. So we want to make sure we dig a nice deep hole, surround the root systems. We don't want the root systems planted so they're facing upwards like that. They actually call that J-rooting. And roots are a very funny thing. They grow in the direction they're pointed. So there's actually been instances where these roots, if I planted it like that, would start to grow out of the ground, and that would not do the plant work. A lot of people ask, how much do the seedlings cost? But because we're run by New York State, we offer the seedlings at cost, at or below cost. So, for instance, the bayberry that I just showed you would cost about $20 for a unit of 25, or $60 for a unit of 100. And our hardwoods and our conifers are priced similarly as well. Follow me over to the grading room. We'll show you how the seedlings are processed. Welcome to the grading facility. This is where we have seasonals come in and grade the seedlings. So it's where we separate the good seedlings from the bad seedlings prior to shipping. As you can see, there's no one else in here at this time, but come early April, we have anywhere between 20 to 30 people working in here trying to package the seedlings in a timely manner and get them out to you. What happens is we line people up along the conveyor belts, which you see, and the seedlings that were freshly harvested from the fields come in on the top belt. Our graders take a bundle of trees and they'll go through them, and what they're looking for is a healthy top and a healthy root system. We'll bring you back to one of our bayberry friends that we saw in the cooler. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a nice healthy top. Since this is a shrub, that multiple stems is fine. It looks nice and healthy. And we're also looking for a root system that is at least 1/3 the length of the top of the seedling And we're also looking for anywhere from 5 to 7 feeder roots coming off the main root system, which you can see we have here. So what happens is the people sitting there counting going through your seedlings will go through their bundle and pick anywhere from 5 to 10 of the good seedlings, depending on what units we're trying to fulfill at that time. And they'll put those seedlings on the middle belt, and those will come down to where our banders will band them with a rubber band, and then they continue their journey up to this belt where the unit will be packaged in a craft paper bag. And then because they're bare root and they're in this bag, it's very important that these are shipped pretty quickly out to you. So as soon as you receive your seedlings, you want to make sure you put them in a nice cool area until you're able to plant. Usually they'll do fine in this bag as long as you keep the bag cool, and a garage, a cool basement will do fine. They do well for about 1 to 2 weeks. By that point, you really need to get them in the ground. So if you're planning on doing a planting, you want to make sure you schedule ahead of time any equipment you might need, any help you may need, so once your seedlings arrive, you can get them in the ground and they're not just sitting around. When our staff is in here grading the seedlings, we do have our yes/no board. And what we do, it's up to the room foreman to make sure the people know what they're grading and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So he'll go through the boxes that have come, of the species that's coming in, and he'll put examples of what's a good seedling and also examples of what's not acceptable. And we do multiple checks as people are counting, especially when you're doing this for 8 hours. It gets a little boring after a while, but we make sure that people are keeping their grade constant. So when the product is shipped to you, you're getting a nice, viable seedling to do your planting. We're still in February here. A lot of people might not be thinking about seedlings right now or spring planting, but we actually start taking our orders for the seedling on the first business day of the new year, and we'll continue taking orders until mid-May. Shipping of the seedlings doesn't occur till after April 15th, that's usually when the frost is out of the ground, and we'll continue shipping right through the middle of May as well. So right now what we're doing is we're getting all our equipment together. We're doing the repairs we didn't have time to do during the summer, and we're getting ready to get into the ground starting late March, hopefully, if Mother Nature cooperates. And we'll start getting filling our boxes, filling our coolers, and then we'll bring our crews in. They'll start grading, and hopefully the first seedlings will start going out to our customers by April, the third week in April. The nursery offers all types of different seedlings. We offer conifer species such as white pine, red pine, white spruce, Norway spruce. We even hit balsam fir, some of the Christmas tree species, concolor fir, balsam fir, and even Douglas fir. If you're looking for shrubs to attract the wildlife, we have species such as American cranberry, nannyberry, witch hazel, many of the shrub dogwoods, even shrub willows, which will help protect the shorelines along lakes and rivers, and also are great in areas that are a little wetter than usual, such as wetlands and stuff like that.
The show you are watching has been produced by SACC.TV. SAC-TV is a not-for-profit organization that provides educational programming, seeking to enrich communities by producing shows on culture, science, health, the arts, and more. SAC-TV is member-driven, which means that we rely on donations, grants, underwriting, and volunteers to deliver quality content. SAC.TV has been in operation continually since 1974 and currently operates a full-time studio in Rotterdam, New York. In recent years, SAC.TV has produced over 500 community-driven programs that are all available to view free to the public on www.sac.tv, on demand 24 hours a day. SAC.TV also airs shows on local television, channels such as WNYT, My4 Albany, with programs like Do You Know the Muffin Man, Caught in the Crossfire, Scene TV, Tune Into Wellness Today, and The Janice Thompson Show. Check your local programming schedule or www.sac.tv for times and dates. In SAC.TV's mission to connect and inform communities and individuals, every week we're producing new shows. To be able to provide this service, we are in need of your help. There's a lot of ways you can help SAC.TV and in turn help your community. Visit www.sac.tv. There you can click on Donate and select the contribution level of your choice. You can also help SAC.tv by sponsoring an ongoing program, volunteering behind the scenes, or even producing your own show. And as always, if you enjoy what you've seen, visit us on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe, like, share, and pass the word around. For more information and to see the latest shows, visit www.sac.tv or contact us as director@sac.tv or by phone at 518-831-9145. For now, back to our program, and stay tuned for more great shows.
We're on our way to see some of the tubelings we also offer for sale here at the nursery. Tubelings are grown inside our greenhouses and are usually have a 4-inch root system and then the top. But on our way, I received a question about the trees that are surrounding one of our greenhouses. And as you can see, they have multiple tops. Usually the multiple tops occur either because the ceiling was damaged and a new top was put on, or because these trees are kind of in the open, more than one branch was able to get enough sunlight that it continued growing. Of course, those wouldn't be ideal if we were growing these. That's a white pine right in front of us. That wouldn't be ideal if we were growing that for lumber, but as far as just a wildlife tree or a tree that we just want for aesthetics and that, it does make a new, a good complement to the forest around here. Welcome to one of the areas where we have our containerized crop. The seedlings you see here in the containers were grown in our greenhouses. They're grown in the greenhouse for 1 year, and then they're moved out to the holding areas. Mainly what we grow as containerized trees are those species that have special requirements enabled to grow. And we have some balsam fir, some hemlock, and some red spruce in this enclosure right here. And all three of those species require shade during the first 2 to 3 years of their life. So what we do is that we grow them in greenhouses where we actually put shade cloth over the top of the greenhouses. And this way they do not receive too much sun, and we are better able to evaluate their growth through the season. So in the containers here, we have 3-year-old balsam fir. So for those people that were lucky enough to get their orders in early, because we did sell out of balsam fir, unfortunately, this season. So that's why always order early. We start taking orders the first business day of the new year. But these are the 3-year-old balsam fir. Keep in mind, we sell seedlings. So the seedlings are only going to be 6 inches to say 14 inches for some of the hardwoods. So you start out small, you get them in the ground, and with a lot of luck, in 8 to 10 years, you'll have a 6-foot balsam fir tree. if you planted these. So these are 3 years old, and these is what would be you would receive if you ordered them. Right in front of me, these are some spruce seedlings that were started this year. So as you can see, after 1 year in the greenhouse, they're still pretty small. This is where the snow really comes, it comes into effect, where it can help hold these so they don't frost heave out of the containers. But in another 3 years, these will be anywhere between 6 and 10 inches tall. This is our seed storage area where we bottle the seed up, and we're kind of for seed, we're able to store it up to 10 years. So we make sure we have a full supply of seed to fulfill production for at least a few more years. A lot of people ask, why do we process our own seed? Well, we process it mainly because seed production, like fruit and cone production, is cyclic. You don't always get a lot of production each year. So on those years that you have a large crop, you want to collect it so you can store it for future use. Now on a normal run, say we had Norway spruce. We have some Norway spruce cone right here that came in from the field. Normal process to get the seed out of here, out of the cone, would be to first put the cone through our extractory oven. Our oven heats up to 150 degrees, and it helps open up the cone so the seed can be released. We're going to go down to our next equipment. This is Nick. Nick is one of our technicians that helps run the seed plant and make sure that everything is running properly. After we go through the oven, the cone comes up to a machine called the tumbler. The tumbler I like to call a glorified clothes dryer. We set the speed of the tumbler so when the cone goes around, it comes to the top of the tumbler and then drops. What that does is it shocks the seed from the cone. That seed then comes out the side of the machine and comes into the first of our series of seed cleaners. The seed cleaner separates all the debris from the seed which still has its wing on it. So as this runs, all the debris rides down to the back of the machine and is sucked out through the air system onto a pile in the back. And then the seed comes out the side of the machine and is stored in one of the first of our series of hoppers to my right. Right here. That seed then comes into a machine called a debeater or a de-winger. And all this machine does is it turns the seed around to knock that wing off the seed. The wing, the purpose of the wing is so when the cone is up in the air and the cone opens up naturally, the seed doesn't just fall to the ground and is damaged. The wing actually helps it float to the ground so it lands on the ground nice and softly. Unfortunately, for me to run it through my sowers, the machine that actually plants the seed, I need to remove that wing. So we knock it off, the wing off, and then what's left comes to another machine, which is another screen cleaner, where the seed and the wings run across screens and just the seed is separated, comes out the end, and all the wings are sucked out through our air system and deposited in our compost pile. Now we'll come to our last machine, which is our gravity separator. Our gravity separator works on a simple principle that good seed is heavier than bad seed. So what happens is when we have this on, the good seed gravitates to the top of the machine, and the dirty seed and hollow seed stays to the left. And if you zoom in, you can see the nice clean seed at the very top of the machine. And that clean seed is the seed that we bottle, do testing on, and that's the seed we will use to produce future seedlings. Here I have a pitch pine cone. This cone was processed last year, but I'm just trying to show you that, as you can see, as the cone was closed and as it opens up, you see where each scale on the cone is. Each one of those little scales harbored one seed. So as this opened up on the tree, the seed fell from the cone. I guess I should hold it upside down to give you better dramatic. The seed falls out of the cone and flutters to the ground, and then the seed is able to get its nourishment from the ground and hopefully germinate. So see the pretty red stems? Those are red stem dogwoods. Those are seedlings that will be harvested this spring and put up for sale in April and May. If you're interested in purchasing some seedlings, you can call us, our nursery ordering hotline at 518-587-1120. If you're not sure you're ready to do a planting yet on your property, you can always contact one of our regional DEC offices and ask to speak to a forester, and they would be more than happy to help you out with any questions or concerns you may have.
Well, welcome back. I'm still trying to bake the muffins. But finally, I think we're finished. I hope you enjoyed our show today. If you would like to make an order or donate muffins to charity, then please go to the website listed below. With every muffin order, we donate muffins to the charity of your choice. I call it giving your dough to charity. I also encourage you to donate directly to the featured charity today by going directly to our website and getting their information. Thank you very much for watching, and keep on dancing through life by giving to others through love. Let me finish baking these muffins, and see you next time.